What up, y'all? It's your boy TTV Vlogs, and welcome back to another banger video. And in today's video, we will be discussing about the art of simply relapsing. So think of it like this, right? What if I told you that sometimes you have to relapse to realize you changed? I know it sounds crazy, but I couldn't even say that sentence. But what if I told you that you have to relapse to realize you've changed? You know what I'm saying? So, not necessarily in a way relapse into an addiction. And I'm not saying relapse into a person, but relapse into a version of yourself that you thought you had already left behind. So, what I mean by that is by basically changing your inner mind and relapsing made you realize that this isn't good for yourself. So you change, you try to rewire your brain and try to, you know, you try to relapse the old version of yourself to make the newer, higher version of yourself. So it's if you get it, you get it. If you don't, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes we think we're healed until something happens that brings everything back. You know, whether it is a song, a person, a memory, a place that you've been, an addiction, a mistake, or just a feeling that just comes flooding right back into your head, and all the memories just suddenly put you right back to where you started. And then you're constantly asking questions about yourself if you really changed. So did you actually change? Or are you still the same person that everyone knows you are, and everyone can just recognize you because that is you? It seems like you still haven't changed, or you're holding yourself back from your higher potential. You know what I'm saying? Your higher self, but you're relapsing the old version of yourself. So you have to come out of that old version and then build the newer version of yourself. So you really start asking those questions like, did I really change? Did I actually heal, over time? Or was I just distracting myself from the problem? And that's the dangerous part about relapsing. That is the loop, the dupe. Yes. You can spend months, and I mean months, years, weeks, days. I said it in a completely randomized order, but you can spend months trying to become a better version of yourself, only to return to the same behavior that destroyed the old version of you. Yes, me or you, it doesn't matter. But you feel like you're going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? The same thoughts, the same mistakes, and the same pain is constantly reminding you and replaying in your head, and it's a loop. It's a loophole. But here's the shift. Here's where I think people really misunderstand relapse. Sometimes returning to something doesn't mean you failed. I think sometimes returning to it shows you how much you've changed over the course of time, over the duration of when you were hurt to now, after you genuinely relapsed that pain over and over again. You kind of numbed it out, and it's softer. It's not affecting you as much as it did in the past. So you realize the person you were isn't the person you want to be anymore. You know what I'm saying? You see the same situation from a completely different perspective, and you realize that The addiction doesn't give you what you thought it did, whether it's smoking, having sex, or those thoughts in general, or sinning, in other words. You realize the relationship you couldn't live without isn't the same relationship you remember. So you kind of find yourself suddenly looking at your past from the outside, and you don't even realize it, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes. Literally. So that's funny. Uh but that's where the real work begins, y'all. You have to rewire your mind, and you have to understand why you keep returning. Why do you keep coming back? You have to ask those questions to yourself, like, why do I keep coming back to this same pain? Like, is it the loneliness? Is it comfort? Is it just the nostalgia? Was it the possibilities that I thought I had it all, right? I thought I would be a better version of myself. I thought I'd be the better man I thought I would be now than what I was. Was it the pain, or was it because I was afraid of becoming someone new or genuinely changing because I'm having these relapses? I'm having these times where I'm trying to become someone better than who I am now, instead of carrying a bunch of ghosts around and having a bunch of stuff on my back and the world on my shoulders, right? That kind of stuff. Because sometimes the hardest thing about becoming a new person is letting the old person die. I'm telling you, like, we're not in the golden era of 2016 anymore. Things are going to move on. Life is going to hit. People are going to change. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose love. You're going to lose a lot of things. But the art of relapsing isn't about destroying yourself over and over again. It's about recognizing that loop, understanding why you return, and learning from what brought you back, and choosing whether you're going to stay there. You are not permanently defined by the version of yourself you return to. You can come back to yourself. You can rewrite your mind, or, you can become someone entirely different if you really put in that work to show everyone that you are different, and people actually say this sentence right here: you really have changed over the years. And those are the best words someone can ever tell you, especially your peers, because that proves that you've genuinely changed, and people look at you differently than how they looked at you years ago. And that is a good thing, because you're morphing, you're transforming into the higher version. So like I said before, but you have to relapse in order to get to the higher person yourself, so you can understand what had you in that loop. So that was well explained right there. And if you guys don't get it, just go back and rewind the video. So you can come back to yourself, y'all. You can rewrite your mind to whatever you want, but you can become someone different. And that is the real art of relapsing. Becoming someone different. Because I'm telling you, like, it is very important to recognize that loop, so you can further go on, live your life without having the fear of looping again and staying in that same depression, or whatever you're dealing with that has you in that constant loop of, you know, dang, you know, what was the past really like, and what was this, you know, the questions, the possibilities, the answers that sometimes we think about this stuff sometimes. And eh, you have to understand that, like the old you is not going to be you forever. So like, you know, you things are going to happen, things are going to change, and you're going to become someone different, and that's just the real art of relapsing. So well done, well said for me. I'm TGV Vlogs, y'all. I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm TGV Vlogs once again, and always remember, do good at things, be great, make your parents proud, and have a good day. Thank you.